First item of business is the minutes from the June 14th meeting. If there's any changes or amendments to that. Next up is the financial statement.
Yeah, that was good.
This is the financial summaries of revenue and expenditure activities for the City of Hayes, month ended May 31, 2018. Revenues in May totaled $1,954,484. That's a decrease of $27,551 compared to the same period last year. Notable areas of increased revenue from May of 17. General government building permit revenue was up $5,539. Year-to-date, that revenue is up $3,500. Transient guest tax for the CVB was off due to the timing of receipts. However, year-to-date, the transient guest is up $2,600. And month-to-date, residential and business water consumption is up 7.5%, while revenue for both is up 10%. Month-to-date, conservation revenue is up 63%. Year-to-date, consumption is up just 0.68, with total water revenue up 6%. Notable areas of revenue decrease: court fines for public safety revenues were off $14,600 as compared to this time last year, and they are down $47,500 year-to-date. Expenditures in May totaled $1,769,796. That's an increase of $92,356. Some notable areas of increased expenditure: total expenditures for the CVB were up $21,000 due in large part to increased advertising and replacement lights installed in the building. The bulk of the total increase in expenditures mentioned above was due to the purchase of 3 police department vehicles and new equipment reserves totaling $80,530. And Public Works Service Division increased $14,700 for the purchase of crack seal materials, sign and signal light controller repairs, and a curb roller. Some areas of decreased expenditure: there was one, water reclamation equipment expenses fell $13,000 when compared to a year ago due to activated sludge basin and raw sewage pump B repairs. Month-to-date general fund sales tax collections were at $606,357. That's an increase of $21,522 or 3.68% compared to last year. Year-to-date general fund collections are at $2,921,157. That's down $13,914 or just negative 0.47%. The report of quarter-to-date sales tax collections by industry classification was up $79,000 or 4.5%. Leading the way for that was the categories of merchant wholesalers, supermarkets, building material, and new and used car dealers. These top 10 represent 75% of the total quarter-to-date sales tax distribution. Finally, the portfolio certificates of deposit on May 31, 2018 totaled $48.1 million with a weighted average interest rate of 1.6. That's up 0.69 from a year ago. Par value on the portfolio of Treasury notes is $7,707,000 with a weighted average yield to maturity of 1.78. Total balance of the money market account on May 31 was $2 million with a current yield of 0.5. Total investments are down $2,093,000 when compared to this time last year. This decrease is due in large part to the continued large expenditures for the reconstruction of the water reclamation facility. However, we are taking a draw in June on the revolving loan, and that will be processed then. So.
I move we approve the financial statement as presented.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Swaller, seconded by Commissioner Musil. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Next up is citizen comments. This is for anybody that has anything to say about anything that's not on the agenda. Seeing none, we have the consent agenda. There's just the one appointment for approval.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Swaller, seconded by Commissioner Jacobs. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Next up is a selection of a replacement for Commissioner Dinkle. And obviously we'll need a motion and a second. I do think we have at least one candidate here who had contacted us, so if you want to address the commission, you're welcome to, but you're by no means required to do so. But this is the time to do that. Okay? Seeing
Mr.
none.
Chairman, I move to appoint Ron Mellick to serve in the unexpired term of Chris Dinkle, City Commission.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Schwaller and a second by Commissioner Jacobs to appoint Ron Mellick to serve out the rest of the term. And if there's any comments or...
I just am appreciative of the people that stepped forward and did contact some of us. I wasn't contacted by everyone, but I appreciate people's willingness to serve.
I will, I'm actually going to be voting yes for Mr. Melick. I think I served with him. He actually, when I first got on, I learned a lot from just stuff he kind of worked with me on. But I also, I had 3 of them contact me. And my strong suggestion would be is I was in these shoes a few years ago when, they selected Commissioner Representative Phelps now. And, I was very disappointed at the time, but, I came to every meeting after that. And I learned a lot from the fellow commissioners. You guys, were willing to share what was going on. And I strongly suggest if you guys are willing to serve that you get out there and, learn from the community, because you'll learn a lot from what they want out of us. And, get your name on the selection. And I think there's a good chance, because we need good people to run. We need, I believe we need new blood, like always everybody says. But I also think with what we're going into with budget season and water and stuff, I think the person we're picking is the right pick.
The reason I nominated Mr. Melick, and there's another individual in the audience who actually has a stunning resume, background of community service,
Yep.
phenomenal individual who should run.
Yes.
Yes.
In the next 18 months, we will complete and begin $100 million in infrastructure projects. We don't have to borrow the money, we have the money. So these are not unplanned things. When I was first served with Ron in 2009, I didn't know him very well. I didn't like him. And I do now. He's an amazing commissioner. He asks the right questions. You know where he's going to stand on an issue. He's very flexible, though. He listens to others. He certainly has a strong opinion from time to time. But given the enormity and the size of these decisions that we're going to be making, the 4 of us, we need a 5th who's been here. And this has served us well. We appointed, as you point out, now Representative Eber Phelps to fill an unexpired term. We asked Commissioner Kent Stewart to come back and fill an unexpired term when Barbara Wassing was elected to County Commission. And it's good to have someone join us who's been here for a while. It's not that the other candidates aren't great, but given the scope and the learning curve, that's why I made that motion.
Yeah, the only thing that I would add to that is, obviously, I spoke to 3 individuals, all great individuals. It is odd to me that we get to select who's going to be with us. It's kind of an oddity. I don't want to, maybe not so odd, I don't know. I think it's weird. It's weird that we select the replacement. It's not a decision that I really have any desire to make, to be quite honest. I think that I would be just as happy to have it be completely taken out of my hands. But in any case, whoever, the 3 individuals I talked to were highly qualified, great people. I would have been fine with any of them, but obviously Ron's been here before, and it'll be a great addition. So.
I had forgotten that I was actually in that position. I've been here so long.
That's right. I forgot. I apologize.
And it is to step forward and put your name out and be contacted by others. It's a difficult thing, and for the people that did, I encouraged everybody that applied when I did to run when the election came last year. And I agree with Commissioner Musil. All of you that came forward, please put your name on the ballot.
Well, like I said before, there's no way I would have worked as hard as I did both times if they would have said yes the first time. It's kind of when you go home that night and tell your wife, now they didn't take you, but, it made me learn a lot and made me work hard, and I was very thankful for what I learned, going through it, so.
With that, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 4-0. Next item is a progress report on the wastewater treatment facility.
Good evening. Hopefully I'll get to the pointer situation a little bit.
If not, Kim's here.
Yeah, I want to spend just a few minutes on this slide, and mainly for the purposes, we are exactly at the halfway point in this water reclamation improvement project. That's phenomenal that seems like we just started and we're
Yes.
halfway through the process. 13 months in, we know that even though our contract completion date is a couple months longer, the anticipated completion date is June 25th next year, final completion of June 25th, 19. So another 13 months to complete it. Another sign that it's going well, and which a lot of people should take great pleasure in this, is that we get the payment this month, which is the largest payment. I told Kim already, the largest contractor payment, but it's also exactly 50% complete on work completed. So not only is the time in that time frame, but they're proving that they can deliver the work. And so we're exactly halfway through it. I also want to take, while we're talking about that, and maybe the next time we do it is when we have a ribbon cutting out there in 13 months, hopefully not 105 degrees, 30-mile-per-hour winds, but unfortunately, that's when it's going to happen. I just want to thank the city. You know, I already heard it referenced tonight, is you do a phenomenal job of managing your projects. It's unbelievable that you can talk about this project and then a major water project and major other projects with money in the bank. I mean, trust me, work for a lot of cities and that doesn't happen very often. And the other thing is, Kim is unbelievable when it comes to managing payments, which means people want to work for the city of Hayes. People get paid in a week or 10 days, and he gets all the paperwork put together. So many cities, I have to do that. I don't do anything for Kim. Kim does it all, and he submits for his payment applications. The other person, I could go on forever, but Jeff and Toby are at every construction meeting. I mean, unbelievable. That shows a contractor the commitment of the city, and so then they want to work harder and meet all the deadlines than if they're just meeting with me or the engineer or whoever. So I want to compliment everybody involved, and if I miss somebody, I apologize, but it's a great experience. We're not done. 13 more months, but I feel very confident that we're going to finish on a very strong note. The other thing I really like hearing when I come to city commission meetings is your water revenues are up. Because that makes everybody, feel good about their projects too, is if you can show that the public is using your services and paying their bills, and that's always very promising. So, so the date of substantial completion, which is really the date that's the most important, that's when the plant is turned over to the city for operation. Right now it's scheduled to be June 3rd of next year. However, there's a bigger date than that, and that's the whole liquid part of the plant is scheduled to be turned over to the city at the end of October of this year. So we're just a few months away from putting this plant into operation and starting to treat the wastewater to the new effluent limits. It's coming up to a closing, and then July 25th, as I mentioned, is final completion. That's when everything's been cleaned up, all the punch list items have been done, all the pay applications have been satisfied, and DNR's or KDHE's come in and signed off on it, and we're in good shape. So we're getting there. So you've seen this site plan before. This is updated for the current construction. I don't know, this is maybe a week old, something like that. So just real quick, just as a reminder, let's see if I can get this pointer working right. Right, there we go. Okay, so new things on here, if you've been out there or driven by, is this headworks is starting to take shape. It's actually further along than that today. So that's looking good. Obviously, this aeration tank, they're starting to put the supports in for the major equipment in that basin, so that in the next month or so we'll start to have equipment in it, as will these two clarifiers. There's a lot of work been done inside that I'm going to show you some pictures of in this filter building with a new filter structure on the back side of it. So really every part of the plant is being worked on right now in parallel, and so contractors do an excellent job of managing his construction and keeping things going. So there's the headworks. It really is an attractive building. It's the brick matches the brick on the other buildings that were constructed at this plant back in some of them built in the 90s and some of them back in the 60s. So at least on the front face of the structure of the plant, you see the same continuity of structures and the structure type. And I think that's important. Looking here now from the west towards or from the south towards the aeration tank and the 2 clarifiers, this is where the majority of the work, I lost my pointer. Where'd it go?
Use the top button.
Oh, wrong button. There we go. Okay, so this is where the majority of the wastewater gets treated again, and then that's settled out in these 2 tanks, and then sent over to a filter over in this building and for UV disinfection.
That large clarifier, is that tilted down, or is that just the way the picture?
It's just perspective. That's perfectly level, so
That's what
all
I
those
thought.
tanks are, yeah. So that's where the final step of treatment before disinfection inside of this building is the final filter. The filtration at this plant used to take place inside this building. Now it's done in this small addition onto the building. That's just a sign of new technology. Here's the inside of the old filter building. And these used to be the filters right over here. We've taken one of those and it's been cleaned up and concrete floor placed in it, and the UV disinfection is being placed in that location. And then in this other one is just extra space that could be used in the future for expansion. They've gone and started to, you can see on here the ceiling's been painted. They're starting to finalize this building. This is the building with the big DAF unit that was put in the 90s and got very little use. Well, that's gone. And these will be the administrative offices for the water and wastewater group, as well as a laboratory. There'll be a meeting room in there, and it's going to be, very nice. The control system, this SCADA control system, computer system will all be located in this building in a very controlled environment so that it won't be subject to corrosion and won't be, and it'll be cooled so it won't overheat and that type of thing. So we're getting a very good use out of this building for that use. This right here, if you've been out to see it or you can see it from the road, is the backup generator. It's huge. It will generate enough electricity to run the whole plant if your power utility loses power to the plant. So that's important. Now, how many gallons of fuel is there?
6,000.
6,000 gallons? 2,200. So 2,200 gallons of fuel will basically run that at full load for just one day. So, you want to get your power back as quick as possible, which you got an outstanding utility here locally that does not have long shutdowns. So it's something, though, that gives you the ability to keep treating and discharging high-quality water even if you do have a power outage. They're starting to backfill around the tank, so you can tell they're starting to button up the site a little bit. They're going to start putting equipment in all these basins. I think I mentioned a couple months ago, we got all the structures pretty much complete. We now just have to start installing equipment in the basins. So that's where we are today. All good news. Be happy to answer any questions.
I'd love to tour it again. I'd love
Okay.
the opportunity. I enjoyed it the first time, and I'd like to see it
Great.
again and see all the progress
Great.
if we could.
We'll watch for
Toby,
the
I'm sure,
weather.
can set it
Let's
up.
set something up.
Yeah,
I'd
Great,
like to
thank
also.
you.
yeah, great.
Preferably the day when it's not 100.
Yeah, when it's not
Yeah.
110.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Even though even though it was 100, over 100, it was better than yesterday.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
true.
So
yeah.
humid yesterday, and it was really
Yes,
pretty
sir.
dry heat today, so.
I appreciate you out there.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
So thanks so much.
Thanks
Dan.
so much.
You bet.
Next item is purchase and installation of a multi-play aquatic feature for the Hayes Aquatic Park.
Good evening, Commissioners. Jeff Boyle, Director of Parks. Back at our joint meeting in January with the city and the Hayes Recreation Commission, we discussed the Starburst in particular, discussed many things, lots of large slides and various obstacles that we could put down at the pool. At the end of the meeting, the City Commission asked city staff to send out a request for proposal for a aquatic feature to take the place of the deteriorated Starburst for an amount not to exceed $185,000. City staff did do that, and we got 3 bids in. This is the location of the starburst. The little green circle is the location that it's currently at. The red area is the outline of what we think could be used by whatever's decided upon. Doesn't have to be that big. We just want to make sure we define that area. Bids were sent out, and proposals were due on June 5th. And the proposals did include a turnkey project. In other words, city staff is not installing this unit. It would be installed by a contractor. It would be a turnkey project. 3 bids were received, ranging in price from $176,250 to $185,000. The low proposal was from Aquatics. This unit was $176,250. It has 12 features on it. Here is a different angle of that same unit. And again, sort of a lower, different angle on the same unit. So, very nice unit. All 3 of these units meet requirements. They meet the playground safety requirements, ASTM requirements. So that is not an issue with any of the units that was proposed. This is the Capri Pools proposal. Single deck, single slide. Does have a bucket dump, just like the one before it. It's $183,754 installed. Here's a side view of that unit. This is how the unit would sit in the left wing of the zero depth. I keep calling it lazy river. I mean the zero depth pool. I think I've done that a couple times now. But anyway, this is how the unit would sit in there. So it's not a huge unit. It wouldn't take up much space. And it would basically be right over the top of the existing starburst with a few feet out on either side. This unit is from RJR Enterprises. This unit is $185,000, so it's at our max. It is a very nice unit. It's got a large bucket dump, as you can see. Here's a different angle. And yet another one. We had a meeting with the Hayes Recreation Commission staff and city staff and went through these proposals and looked at all the features available. This is the feature that got the unanimous vote. So what we call the best bang for the buck. We think this unit is the best bang for the buck. And this is how the unit would sit in the left wing of the lazy river where the starburst is. So they would use the connecting points. Did I say lazy river again? Zero depth pool. So this would use existing piping. There wouldn't be a whole lot of cutting or chopping up at the bottom of the pool. So it's a very they do it all the time. Lots of different facilities add these sort of structures. There is a pool reserve fund balance of $321,558. The RJR Enterprises unit would begin work as soon as the pool closes, so basically August 21st. And it would be completed no later than December 21st. Now, in visiting with those folks, they would actually like to get that done quicker than that. So they said the main thing would be the amount of time it takes to get the unit delivered would be their holdup. But they would like to see it done in late October or November, so it's just going to depend on the delivery date. It's usually 12 to 14 weeks delivery date. This is our recommended action is to approve the RJR Enterprises aquatic feature for the Hayes Aquatic Park.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the proposal for the Elevations Aquatic feature for the Hayes Aquatic Park from RJR Enterprises for an amount of $85,000 from the pool reserve funds.
185.
I'm sorry, 185. What did I say? 85. Oh, 105. Sorry, 185,000.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Commissioner Jacobs, second by Commissioner Musil. Any comments or questions?
Well, I wasn't here last week, so I wasn't in on, the banter back and forth, but I know Commissioner Swaller, you had said that, there should be a study done and all this stuff. I get where you're coming from on that, but to me, I think that's a waste of money, in my opinion. When this was built or changed to the aquatic park, Dodge City, Great Bend, Russell, all the towns around us didn't have brand-new pools. And it's obvious that attendance has dropped when all these new pools have came. And people don't come here as much because of that. Personally, I don't think this is going to increase attendance, but I think it's going to keep it relevant. And I think it's a great addition to a pool that's a very nice pool that we have. And it's unfortunately, I mean, you know, I think we were all here when I'd suggest I think we need to raise our prices a little bit. I don't know what that magic price is. You know, if you look at the other pools around here, I mean, we're below everybody in our region. And we talked about that was at the joint session. But I don't know what that magic, because I mean, we're not brand new like some of those others are, so I don't think we can outprice ourselves. But if we're truly worried about the dollar amount, which we should be, I think that's something we need to adjust our prices possibly, or adjust the family passes or something like that. But you know, like we've always said, it's a quality of life. I don't believe we're ever going to make money on a pool, and we don't make money on a lot of quality of life things that we have, but it sure is nice to have in our community.
Jeff, do you know offhand the passes that HRC and the admission, is that dictated by the commission, or is that something that
Yes, the
HRC
commission
does?
sets
we
the
decide
price.
every year.
Now, they have a little leniency if they want to do a special. They do $35 specials early on.
Right.
And this year, they've actually have the highest number of family season passes that they've had, so it's interesting to see.
Okay. I was just curious. Thank you.
It sounds like they're off to a really good start this year with, of course, warm weather.
We've already had 2 1,000-day participant days down there, which I think we had 2 all of last year, so
That's awesome.
hopefully we'll continue that trend.
Good. Great.
Well, I apologize. My comments last week were not well-formed, and luckily, being outside and doing some gardening gets your mind. There's really 2 issues here, and it isn't a study as much as it is a marketing plan. It would be great if the Hayes Convention and Visitors Bureau could actually market the facility. Of course, that means determining the price that people are willing to pay that would address that issue.
Sure.
Promoting it. We don't promote the aquatic park anymore. It's just there. We expect people to go there. We don't put it as part of a larger package that when people come here, we remind them that we have it. And then also helping us define the product. So the first thing that's lacking is a marketing plan. But the second thing that concerns me more, particularly as the pool now approaches its 20th year, and I've worked on a lot of pools, the reserve funds that we have on hand, $320,000, were meant to repair the pool. And we've done a diligent job of maintaining the pool, and the city manager and I talked about this. He shared the inspections and all the work that the parks have done and contractors have done. But at some point, very soon, we don't know when, given the nature of the equipment, it's not like replacing a car, we're going to have a lot to replace. And when we use 57% of that money to buy a feature, not really knowing if that's going to work, because we don't have a marketing plan, it concerns me, because the future commission, I won't be here, is going to have to figure out how to come up with $500,000, probably, to maintain this, and they won't have it in reserve anymore. So I like to leave things better than I found them, but I understand where the commission is, and I'm just going to vote no, but I understand it's going to pass, and that's fine. It is about quality of life. One thing to say about paying for itself, I never thought this thing would pay for itself. That's what the commission and the city manager at the time told the public. They told the public it was going to be a money maker, because the lazy river, they're going to charge to rent the donuts or whatever they float around in the floaty things, and it was just going to make $150,000 a year. And of course it doesn't, because if it did, someone would build it. That's why the city does things. We don't do things to make money, we do it to make our community better. And that I understand. But again, I'm just concerned about how the future commission will repair it. Thank you.
Commissioner Swaller, I 100% agree with you on a marketing plan. I think that's something that, and we definitely, I believe we have the right staff in place right now to do that, and I think that would definitely help. I think it's a great idea.
I agree, and the only point I wanted to make in addition to quality of life issues, which is what I have talked about in the past, we had a really nice email from a retailer in town talking about her thinking about what the value was of our pool, and quality of life was part of it. But I quote from her email, she says, if families, whether Hayes or families visiting the aquatic park from outlying communities, begin frequenting other water attractions, Salina, Great Bend, etc., as a replacement, we will lose their dollars spent on eateries, shoppings, etc. Money and sales tax revenue that would have benefited Hayes if we had not allowed our facility to lose its sizzle. And I thought that was a closing comment that resonated with me. And that's the reason I'll be voting yes, along with quality of life.
Well, I didn't get that email, but I don't know that I agree with that. However, I think that would not be a reason that I would vote for this personally. But, you know, we put in $30,000, $50,000, $60,000 pieces of playground equipment and parks, and we get nothing out of that. So to me, I don't really understand how this is really any different, you know. Not that I don't understand what Commissioner Schwaller is saying, but, you know, in a way, we kind of have the same situation going on with the sports complex.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it's interesting that both of these items were built and paid for and approved through special sales tax that the voters did say that they wanted, and I can only assume that when they approved it, that they knew that at some point, you know, the overall maintenance costs of these were going to be borne out by the taxpayers. So anyway, call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Passes 3-1.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
Good work.
Good work.
Next item is Kingsgate Park.
Good evening, Commissioners. John Brown, the project manager for the City of Hayes. The Kingsgate addition is located north of 41st Street, just east of the bypass, US 183 bypass. A closer view of that area shows the location of the proposed park. When originally platted, a green space dedication was accepted by the city for development of a future park. There was also some money, cash was paid by the developer in lieu of partial green space. And in 2012, the developer petitioned for a benefit district that would to assess the cost of the parks to the people in that benefit district. The park would include such amenities as a basketball court, shelter house, play structure, swing set, barbecue grills, and benches. Seating and landscaping would be accomplished in-house by the Parks Department. And once it was complete and inspected, the parks would be accepted for the maintenance and operation by the City Parks Department. Bids were opened May 22nd from 3 contractors, with Covenant Builders submitting the low bid. It was bid with options for wood or rubber mulch. 100% of the cost of construction, engineering, bond and interest would be assessed to 69 lots within the benefit district, and they would be based on a square foot basis on each lot. The average assessment, based upon the wood mulch, is about $141 per year. And with the rubber mulch, that assessment is about $33 more per year at $174. So the commission has the option of awarding the low bid to Covenant Builders for alternate 1 with wood mulch, or alternate number 2 with rubber mulch, or directing staff to another option. So action requested, if you choose the wood mulch option, is $75,000. The rubber mulch option is $94,000. I'll stand for questions.
Mr. Chairman, I move we authorize city manager to execute agreement with Covenant Builders in the amount of $94,000. Hello, what's going on
Back,
here?
other one.
$75,000, thank you, for construction of Kingsgate Park improvements, all costs to be assessed per resolution 2012-004.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Schwaller and seconded by Commissioner Musil.
The reason I stumbled, this amount is for wood,
Right.
Yes.
and the health benefits or the health impact of rubber mulch has not been decided yet, so I Googled that to make sure. I heard from a contractor, said, don't use rubber, use wood mulch. Yes, it splinters, but we'll deal with that.
Yeah, I personally like the rubber better, the playgrounds I've taken my kids to, but I think I'm gonna agree with you on that one.
Every time one of these special assessment things comes up, it just reminds me of why I don't think I'll ever live in a brand new house.
Don't.
I mean, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0. Thanks, John. Next item is an old favorite, commercial insurance renewal.
Good evening, Commissioners. Kim Rupp, Director of Finance, here to talk to you about the commercial insurance renewal for the next year. If you recall, coverage changed from Brit Insurance last year to Midwest Public Risk, or MPR. I'll review a little bit about MPR in a minute. Normally, we would go out to bid for this, out to market to get quotes. Our broker, A.J. Gallagher, did poll the marketplace for quotes. Both Brit and Travelers, they talked to both of those who are insurance carriers that we've had in the past, and they declined to quote, stating they could not provide a competitive bid with MPR. So as you can see, the renewal for the next year is an increase of $29,291, or almost 15%. Some of that increase is due to weather events, as you might imagine, hurricanes, wildfires, tornadoes, wind, and hail. We also have some increased exposures. Vehicle values are up 12%. Total equipment values are up 13%. The program, MPR, is member-based, and the program members within the program have suffered the same instances that we have with wildfires, tornadoes, wind, and hail. So the program itself has increased 9%, and then they also had an actuarial increase of 4.4. And then also add to that the city's loss history. They can go back 5 years on us on that, and that adds another 3%. One item here, we talked a little bit about those increases in exposures. You'll notice in this chart that excess liability and crime took quite a dip. And speaking with Charlie Ayer, our area VP for A.J. Gallagher, he indicated that the insurance companies' reinsurance treaties changed a little bit, and it basically boils down to that they needed to put more of their premium into property and general liability lines. So they took them out of the crime and out of the excess liability. So they call it a change in treaties. So a little bit about MPR, who we're recommending we stay with. It is a pooled public entity group. It's member-owned since 1983, 170 plus Missouri and Kansas cities, schools, counties, special districts, health departments, fire protection districts, ambulance districts, election boards, and housing authorities belong to this group. And much of MPR's services are beyond insurance. I consider them a true risk prevention advisor. They don't try to not have a claim, but they help you to try not to have a claim. So they have things like on-demand member consultation, member-driven advisory committees, DVDs on loss prevention, sprains and strains, parks and playgrounds, best practices, and the like. They also offer work comp and medical and dental plans, and HR continues to monitor those for pricing in the future. So if we were to ever go that route, they have that available too. The IT director attended an MPR conference in Independence, Missouri on cybersecurity best practices. He said they used real-world examples, what members of that group were dealing with. And one thing about MPR, if we were to ever experience something like that, they would step in, excuse me, and help mitigate or negotiate that financial stress in those situations. So he thought it was well worth the trip, and one of the best that he had attended. Another item that really impresses me about MPR is what they consider a loss control credit program. So 3% of our premium, they like to call it contribution, goes towards this loss control fund to help serve as a safety budget. So we can use that for things like panic buttons, door sensors, cameras, and the like. And that stays there for 3 years. If we don't use it, it comes back to us as credit. If we happen to leave MPR, we get that money back because it is our premium. So it's our own premium that we're able to use on those types of things. So tonight, we're recommending and asking that you authorize city manager to renew our insurance coverage with NPR for $225,951.
Mr. Chairman, I move we authorize the city manager to renew the 2018-2019 insurance coverages with NPR package in the amount of $225,951 to be funded from the intergovernmental insurance and surety line item.
Second?
A motion by Commissioner Jacobs, seconded by Commissioner Musil. It's funny that you talk about the cybersecurity, because shortly after our meeting, then something popped up. The Google gods must have been listening, because then in my news feed, something popped up about various cities, how they have been attacked, and how some actually end up having to pay the ransom in order to get, control, and others, had backups. And I don't know, just knowing Chad, I thought, I don't know, I would be interested in hearing more about what our policies and procedures are on that and what we would have in store. So I'll just throw that out there.
Yeah, me too.
Anybody else?
I was skeptical, not about that, but about the premium increase, and
Yeah.
reviewed the one for my company, and it's the same, and it's exactly as you described. So it's a nationwide trend, and we've been lucky all these years.
Yeah, we have. We've enjoyed some lower premiums in the past, and so
I was too. I actually asked for the last 10 years of premiums because and actually if you look at the last 10 years, they're flat. So, I mean, after 10 years, something's going to happen. So, if there's nothing else, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Next item is an ordinance amending the Hilton Garden Inn agreement.
Kim Rupp, Director of Finance. On March 20, 2018, the city clerk received a petition to create the Hilton Garden Inn and Conference Center CID. On April 26, 2018, the City Commission passed Ordinance 3950, authorizing the projects described in that petition, creating the Hilton Garden Inn and Conference Center CID, and imposing a 2% Community Improvement District sales tax to commence on April 1, 2019. Also, on that April 26th date, the City Commission entered into a development agreement with Mitra Developers and Hayes Hotel. The development agreement also defined the CID term as commencing on April 1, 2019. Following the passage of Ordinance 3950 and the development agreement, the developer realized that the 22-year clock on the approved CID would begin prior to his project completion. Therefore, to maximize his full revenue potential from the CID, Mitra Developers has requested the ordinance and development agreement be amended to reflect a new CID start date of July 1, 2020. Pretty straightforward, really just a little bit of housekeeping, honestly. So we are asking that you approve Ordinance 3952 tonight, amending Ordinance 3950 to change that date to July 1, 2020.
I'll move that we approve ordinance number 3952, amending ordinance number 3950 of the City of Hayes, Kansas, to commence the Community Improvement District sales tax on July 1, 2020, and approve the First Amendment to the development agreement with Mitra Developers LLC and Hayes Hotel LLC.
Second?
I have a motion by Commissioner Musil, seconded by Commissioner Jacobs. I think this is pretty straightforward. Call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
Thanks,
What was
Kim.
your- Only four of us.
Or
Huh? Oh,
Said that
4.
all night long. I haven't corrected it yet.
Uh,
Well, there's the
sorry.
fifth man.
Jacob voted for it.
Mayor and Commissioners, I'm Jacob Wood, Assistant City Manager, with this month's progress report. I'm going to go really quick because it's my wife's birthday, so happy birthday. The TV, we don't have cable, so she's not going to see that.
I'll tell her you said
I'll
that.
start out with the Hayes Police Department. We got a new animal service truck that was put into service this month. We've already actually used the thing. We got a badger off of 13th and Main earlier. If you have Facebook, you can go out and like the Hayes Police Department Facebook page, and you can see the video of the whole thing going down.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Move on to the fire department. We received a regional Homeland Security grant in the amount of $62,600. This money is used to purchase some rapid deployment rescue shoring and other safety equipment that we use as part of the regional rescue team that we head up. On to the information technology. You can see I got some before and after pictures. Over time, as they make changes and adjustments to the technology, they're data center kind of became a little bit unorganized, but they went through all of that and they fixed it up. They're very proud of all the work that they do to keep things running. Up here in the front office, when we're doing things, we don't often think about what's going on in the back, but I'll tell you what, they certainly do, and they're very proud of the work they do, and they do a great job. Go on to the Parks Department. Just about this time every year, I get to tell you about improvements at Larks Park. Staff worked to install some new turf in the bullpens, both at the pitcher's mounds and at home plate. The Parks Department was also busy with the recent flood event, or the minor flood event we had at Big Creek. There were some issues at the creek bank on the west side by the dam on Big Creek, so they came in and backfilled that and kind of mitigated any of those issues. I have a new slide here. Project management is our new department. I haven't reported on them recently. Just to kind of give you an update on street maintenance, our poly patch is complete, the diamond grinding is complete, seal coat is complete, microsurfacing should be done tomorrow. So we'll be able to take that off the list. And then we have some additional curb and brick repair that'll be done later this summer. And then we have some chip sealing that will be done also later in the summer. On to Allen Street is a project that's been ongoing since March. Started in March, on March 5th. It's scheduled to be complete in November. You can see the green portions here. Whoa. Green portions here are what's already been completed, so the north part up to about 21st Street, and then a little bit on the southern end are completed, and we're working right here between 19th and 21st Street.
Are they on schedule, Jacob?
They are on schedule. On to the Department of Water Resources. Our guys in Water Resources are out pretty often trying to get out in front of the public and promote all of our conservation efforts. And this was another one of those things. The Art Walk on June 15th, we had the WOW, which is a Watershed on Wheels trailer, and our partnership with Stacy Minson and the K-State Research and Extension continues. So basically this trailer has some posters and hand-painted murals in it that point out some of the pollutants and non-pollutant points in the watershed. In Public Works, we made some repairs on the Indian Trail bridge deck. Some of the concrete was deteriorating, and our service division guys placed some new concrete on that bridge deck. At the airport, we had a regional fly-in on June 9th. This is Great Plains on the Great Plains. This was a partnership with CVB, Public Works, the airport guys. We also had police department out there. We had about 1,500 people come to that event. The big poll this year was the Kate. How did that turn out purple? That's weird. The skydive. The Kansas State Club came out and they had skydiving. You could go out and skydive with those guys. And then a partnership that the CVB worked on with FHSU. They had the Maker Van come out, which is an educational. It's basically part of their science and technology programs. They come out. They have all kinds of cool science experiments. You can see right here. This is actually an outdoor oven. They were actually able to cook stuff on site. I think they probably could have just put it on the pavement and been fine that day.
It wasn't that
But
bad.
this is something that's kind of new, and actually, I'll kind of come back to that a little bit. The International Town and Gown Association is something that we've kind of kicked off. We've got an organization or a committee that's in partnership with the city, CVB, the chamber, and also Fort Hays State. And so our CVB director, as well as DHCC director, went to the International Town and Gown Conference this year. They presented the March to Maine event, which is you guys are all aware of and part of, and actually the March to Maine event will take place on August 28th this year. I'm going to take you right back to this. This is actually a partnership that happened because of that committee. We were talking about the different events in the community, and Melissa said, hey, we've got this event out at the airport. Is there any way that Fort Hays would want to be involved? And they were able to connect the dots and get the Makers Van to come out and be part of the event. So that was something kind of small. That's kind of in the beginning stages, but I think that will continue to grow over time. We'll see more opportunities to take part in their events and them take part in our events as well. The Downtown Hays Market has kicked off about a month ago, and CVB was down there for the first couple of Saturdays offering coffee. They've had over 20 vendors every time so far. It seems to be going really well in the new pavilion. And just don't forget, Wild West Festival is next week, and I wanted to have fireworks for you guys. So that's all I have.
Mr. Wood, what's going to be the follow-up with the contractor, Vance Brothers, who have had a really difficult time this year on Centennial and then the horrific spill in front of Lincoln School? We've used them for many years. I'm surprised they're having so much trouble this year.
Yeah, and John Brown is here if you want to take that one.
Please. Because A, I'm tired of getting email about it, and B, it is pretty serious stuff.
Right. In regards to the spillover by Lincoln School that happened yesterday morning, the contractor is acutely aware of it and will be cleaning up. They're still finishing up. They're going to put on the second coat tomorrow, and then they'll be power washing the concrete areas where the oil emulsion, basically what happened was they have to put a prime coat down on the concrete before the microsurfacing goes on, and the truck that was applying that was set for double the rate, and so they put down too much oil, and then subsequently it ran down the curb before they corrected their problem, and so they'll be cleaning that up.
Well, my concern is the KDHE violation. And this is something we take very seriously. We require new construction to contain dirt. And again, this is the second time this summer. Things happen, but it seems like they don't have it together as much as they have in the past.
Right. I don't think we reached the KDHE violation because it never
They didn't get near a
didn't get
storm
into
sewer.
the storm sewer, and they put down the absorbent material to soak that up. And what's there now is basically stuck to the pavement, so they get that power washed off and cleaned up and moving on. Yeah, we're not happy about it. Seems like every contractor we've had in here this summer has had some stub their toe one or more times on every project. So.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Mr. Brown, speaking, very minute compared to what you're talking about, but I know I mentioned this to Mr. Wood, I think Toby, you were on vacation, about the crosswalks that they painted, the company was in that are.
22nd
I
Street?
could have painted straighter.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, they're horrible. And then
Right.
people drove over them right away
Yeah.
and streaked them.
I just never heard a follow-up. I'm just curious.
right. We're waiting. They came back and they removed a lot of the bad areas, a lot of the tracking stuff. They came back and removed that, and they're waiting for their crew to get back in here to reapply those. So we're expecting that to happen in the next couple of weeks.
Thank you.
It wouldn't be a commission meeting if we didn't talk about paint on our street, would it?
Nope.
Good point.
Thank you, Paul.
Miss Jacobs?
I have nothing.
I want to wish everybody a happy July 4th early, and as we ask every year is please be smart and clean up your mess with fireworks and be safe, because there's many people that absolutely hate fireworks. And I think the last few years we've had very good luck with people taking care of them, but please think about your neighbor when you're shooting fireworks off.
Happy 4th of July to everyone as well. It's my second favorite holiday. It is certainly tremendously important to this country, and I agree with the fireworks thing. People in my neighborhood were shooting them off last night, and I know where they live, so I can solve that. Happy 4th of July.
I have a couple of things to report. My neighbor who's in Rotary and was supposed to be charged with their programming this month, I guess, was nice enough to ask me to come and talk, and asked her what she wanted me to speak on, and she said, "Oh, anything city related." So I chose to talk about roundabouts, and you would be surprised. Yes, you would be surprised the response that I got. It was honestly overwhelmingly positive. I felt like so. I just thought that you guys would like to know that. The other thing I wanted to bring up is vacancies on our various boards. As two of you know, it's not always the easiest to find people to serve in this capacity. some that need to really be, some are, everything's important, but some are unfortunately more important than others. So we have a library board vacancy that I think is really important that I would like to have filled soon. And then we have some upcoming vacancies on Board of Zoning Appeals and then the Planning Commission. And obviously those two have very important functions as well. So if you have names, or anybody who's listening at home, if you have cable, which wouldn't be my wife either because we don't have cable either. But if you know of somebody,
Is the planning commission open now?
yes, I believe so. And I think that I can't tell you for sure. I think it may be more than one.
Two, I believe.
Yeah, because I think there's one coming up.
I have a
so,
couple people in mind. Thank
So
you.
if you have names and you feel free to reach out to them yourself and then say, hey, put in an application or contact me. Or if you don't feel comfortable contacting him, just send me the names and the information. And I'll be happy to contact them. And
I'll contact
anybody who's listening, anybody can put in an application by going to the city website, hazesusa.com, and you can do it online or you can print it out and bring it into the city office. So these are important, and these are not the only openings. There's all kinds of other openings. So if it's something you're interested in, please get your name out there. So, all right, well, with that, I think we are finished. May God bless the city of Hayes. The one, well, Stacy, there's only one opening.
You gotta look at
There's
that
two
stuff.
just Monday, but it was, I can't remember her name. They moved away. Her husband was also on the investigation committee.
Yeah.